The Vegas Golden Knights are back in the playoffs after a brief one-year hiatus. Chris Gawlik of Locked On VGK is here to discuss his team's prospects heading into the Stanley Cup Playoffs. And the Locked On Road to the Stanley Cup continues as we welcome Chris Gawlik from Locked On Vegas Golden Knights to take stock of this team's chances to make a deep postseason run. Chris, always a pleasure to have you here. What do you feel is the biggest storyline for the Golden Knights coming into the playoffs?
Who the heck's going to play? So, so much has been happening. Jack Eichel just missed Saturday's game against the Stars. He'll be missing tonight's game against the Kraken. Zach Whitecloud took what looked to be a very gruesome injury, but it appears he has escaped a worst-case scenario. So we should see Zach Whitecloud back come playoff time. Shea Theodore has been missing for a little bit of time right now, and it appears he's begun skating, so we should get him back. Mark Stone, I'm sure his name's going to come up a few more times. Mark Stone, timingly enough, has returned to the ice just about a week off from the playoffs because, well, he can't play now because of the salary cap, but salary cap goes away pretty soon. So once it goes away, Mark Stone's back is going to be feeling a lot better.
Yeah, amazing how that works. What do you think is the biggest reason why your team will win the Stanley Cup?
All those players I mentioned being healthy, along with the healthy Logan Thompson, Aiden Hill, Jonathan Quick is there if we need him. Laurent Brossoit has been doing magnificent as well. When this team is healthy, if our top six defensemen are all healthy, this team can defend any team, not just in the West, but in the East as well. And hopefully get to that magical 3-goal mark to win playoff games. In the regular season, you got to find a way to get 4 goals. In the playoffs, you usually take that down to 3 goals. And if our top 6 defense is healthy and Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill are back to form, it will be very difficult to defeat the Vegas Golden Knights in a 7-game series.
And what do you think would be the reason that this team does not win the Stanley Cup?
All those players I mentioned not getting healthy and coming back. It's really the same answer right now. Health, and this is not a Vegas Golden Knights thing by any means. Health is paramount for all teams in the NHL. The Avalanche extremely beat up, just a quick example of teams having a tough time. But if our top 6 defensemen are not healthy, if Zach Whitecloud can't come back, if Shea Theodore were to suffer an additional injury or someone like Pietrangelo, health would be the number one thing. And then I'll put a write-in vote for our power play, which has been right around the 20th ranked power play all season long. We've had noteworthy issues in the playoffs with the power play as well. So I'll start with health of this team and then a write-in vote for the power play being the biggest reason why we would not win a Stanley Cup.
Why do you feel the power play has been struggling all season?
We talked about this even coming into the season. Bruce Cassidy has had some very highly ranked power plays, but he's also had like a stint where he was like 0 for 50 or something like that with Boston recently. So, it's real hard. It's not because of lack of talent. There's so much talent in our top, 8 or 9 forwards, and then we have a lot of great defensemen who do really well quarterbacking the power play. Cassidy recently, we just moved one of our kids onto the power play, Pavel Dorofeev. They asked Cassidy, why you putting this kid up there? And his response is, someone has to shoot from the blank and elbow because no one likes to shoot on the Vegas power play. So, that's one of the reasons. And maybe it's an extra pass. Maybe they're overthinking it. There was a good span for a while where Shea Theodore, we were talking about him a second ago, just puts a seeing eye puck to the net, pinballs, hits a couple of players, goes in, and the power play goes on a nice little run for a couple of games. So maybe they overthink it. Maybe they don't practice it well enough, or maybe there's a little bit of a curse going back to when Pete DeBoer was coaching the team and had a terrible time with the power play in the playoffs, going back to the bubble season.
Yeah, I do remember that. Who is the key player to watch on the Vegas Golden Knights?
I think Jack Eichel and Mark Stone would get equal consideration right now, starting with Jack Eichel because, well, first we got to get him back on the ice. He was a surprise scratch on Saturday. No one in Vegas saw that coming. Hour ahead of time, Cassidy's presser comes out. Oh, by the way, there's no Jack Eichel today. Okay. We were all hoping to see Eichel back tonight for the Seattle game, thinking maybe just a small maintenance thing. They want to be careful. Well, Now he's missing a very important game for the Golden Knights tonight, because if we win, we all but seal up the Pacific and get us 2 points closer to the entire conference. So Jack Eichel, all the stuff that comes with him as far as the Buffalo people and everything, it would really be nice to see him, for lack of a better term, kind of stick it to a lot of people and take the Golden Knights on a deep playoff run. But first, he's got to get on the ice. Speaking of getting on the ice, Mark Stone, our leader, our just momentum, he's so much intensity on the bench. He's done well on the power play. He's done well from that bumper position. Vegas can't seem to get anyone else to convert from the bumper. Mark Stone will certainly come back. That'll be his spot once he does come back, and once we get our first power play, it'll be good to see Mark Stone back, and maybe he can pot one quickly for us.
What would a successful playoff run look like for the Golden Knights, and what's at stake if they fall short?
So I would start by saying, me and Tony hit this morning on Locked On Vegas Golden Knights. I feel that right now, the way things have played out, the goalpost moved a little bit, I think. So coming into the season, I kind of felt like if they would win one series, maybe possibly win a second series, that would look good. It's conference final or better right now. If they don't at least get to the conference final, you'll point to these last two games because they probably coughed up some of their home ice leverage advantage. If Seattle or Winnipeg, or even the Los Angeles Kings, depending on where we shake out, if we have a one and done situation, that would be catastrophic. And then you start pointing to the general manager and saying, okay, wait a minute, we had a good regular season. What happened? Did the players break down? Did Cassidy change systems? Those are some of the questions that would come up. So successful playoff run, conference final or better. What's at stake if they don't get that far? Bruce Cassidy is safe. He did a magnificent job. Kelly McCrimmon, even though things have gone well, and I said just this morning, McCrimmon feels like he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers the way he's managed this roster. If the roster does break down and Alec Martinez, an older player, just can't go. If Pietrangelo, an older player, just can't go for some reason. If Mark Stone can't get back on the ice, now we're going to look at the roster composition and take a deeper dive into the job Kelly McCrimmon has done.
All right. Well, that does it for our Vegas Golden Knights preview here on the Locked On Road to the Stanley Cup. Be sure to subscribe or follow Locked On Vegas Golden Knights for free on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. The Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.